Hello everyone, welcome back. First video for a week or so, and still recovering, but a lot easier now. Scarring's improving and things like that, so got it, just a little glove on there. Not doing anything heavy today, just a bit of seed sowing. So we're going to sow quite a few seeds today. We're now end of April, and yeah, it's go time, isn't it? It's still getting really cold temperatures on a night though. Last night we were down to 2 degrees. So covering a lot of stuff up on the night and unwrapping it in the day. We have had quite a bit of rain as well, and quite strong winds, so definitely not summer yet. But I'm going to just sow some Mange 2 here, because I did start some off early in the year in pots, and this one has been totally decimated by the slugs. These are doing okay, so I think what I'll do is I'll just put another few seeds in each position here, probably 2 in each one, just to make sure that they germinate. And I'm going to just get a couple of seeds and poke them down about half an inch, something like that, next to each of these canes, and leave them be. Quite damp, so I'm not going to worry too much about watering. I have actually had to come out and do some watering, especially stuff in pots, because it's been windy and it's drying the ground out quite a lot. So yeah, I've been doing a little bit of watering. The potatoes, the herbs that are in the pots, the peas in that raised bed. So yeah, it's a strange time of year. So that's those there, some more Mange 2 sown. What I'm going to do now is look at the carrots and parsnip situation, because I did sow some direct, not many have come up, and I think that's probably because it was quite cold and quite damp at the time as well. So I'm going to sow some more, and I'll do that with you now. So earlier in the year I sowed 3 rows of carrots here, and we have got a few coming up, but not many, and I'm not certain. There's one coming up there just starting to come through, and I am wondering if I just leave them a bit longer. But they've been sown probably a month now. So I'm going to leave that area, and I'm going to start another row, another 2 or 3 rows here. So this bottle is there to hold the fleece off the seedlings. That's all that's for. So I'll get rid of a few weeds. So this stick that's on the ground marks where I got to, but I can actually see the seedlings coming through here. So going to rough up the surface a bit. There we go. There's a baby carrot from last year. And then I'm going to sow a row here, about 3 inches or so from the row that's already there. We'll put 3 rows in. The carrots I'll sow every few weeks from now on, every 2 weeks probably, until the whole bed is full. Now the variety I'm going to sow is early Nantes, and I've grown these for a long time and I find them really good. So I'm going to try and drop a few every couple of inches. That's how I do it. Some people sow a whole row. I prefer to do it this way because that way I'm going to thin them out to about 2 inches anyway. So if I sow them at that sort of spacing, I can then take the smaller ones as thinnings, as baby carrots, and leave the others to grow on. And this soil is quite damp, so I haven't pre-watered the furrow. If it was really dry soil, probably an idea to water the little trench you've made before you sow the seed. But I will water them once I've sown them, just to make sure there's good contact with the soil. Because carrot seeds are so small, it's quite easy for them to sit in a little pocket in the soil and not actually have any contact with it, and that really doesn't help them germinate. So it's going to cover those over. I'm going to put my stick there so I know where I got to. And we'll get some water. So in this area here, I did sow parsnips, and I can see a couple coming up, I think. There's one over there, one here. And I put 3 seeds in each sowing position. And I'm going to give it a bit more time because it was probably 3 weeks ago. And if nothing happens, I'll re-sow this area. But what I'm going to do today is sow this area here. So get rid of the weeds, any stones, things like that. Now a lot of people will chip parsnips. It's not something I normally do. I just sow them direct normally. I sometimes start them off in pots, in peat pots, early in the year, but I didn't this year because of space in the house. So I'm going to go with one there, there. You don't want to put these very deep. Half a centimetre will do, because they're quite a small seed, and these are probably 4 or 5 inches apart. And the variety I'm going to sow are white gem. I tend to grow 2 varieties, white gem and gladiator. They're the 2 varieties that I generally eat. So I'm going to aim to put 3 seeds in each hole. There's about 6 gone in that one. And the reason I do that is parsnip seeds are notoriously bad at germinating. So by putting 2 or 3 in, I'm increasing my chances of getting something to germinate. Excuse me sniffing, I've got a bit of a cold. There we go. So cover those over. Now you've got to be patient with parsnip seeds. These could take 3 weeks, even 4 weeks to come up. So give them a bit of a water. So these are some radishes that I sowed a few weeks ago, and they're coming on a bit slower than I would expect perhaps, but that's probably because of the cold temperatures at night. And the slugs are attacking these ones more than these actually. They seem to like the icicle, the white radish, as opposed to the Vienna. But never mind. So I think I'm going to put another row of icicle in. And although this is the carrot bed, the whole idea is that these will be grown and eaten before I get to sow carrots in this area. So we'll put another row of icicle in, and they're a white radish, very nice. And then in a week's time I'll probably sow some more, but I'll be going this way into the next bed because I'll be sowing carrots this way. So I'm going to aim to drop 1 seed every couple of inches or so. And radish is just one of those brilliant crops that you can grow very quickly between other crops, just to get that extra bit of produce out of the ground. And I'll cover those over. So next I'm going to sow some climbing French beans, and Blue Lake are a variety I've grown before here in this garden. They did very well, and I'm going to start them off in some pots because it's still way too cold for beans on a night outside at the moment. So I'm going to use these little 3-inch pots and plant them in there about 1 inch deep, and I've got a space for 18, so I'm going to sow 22, 23, something like that, because the chances are not all of them will germinate. Now you could wait into May. Hopefully it will warm up a bit in May and sow them direct, but I find that doesn't always work purely because of the slugs and things. So by giving the plants a good start in pots first, you increase your chances, I think, and it means you can get them growing a bit earlier and out as bigger plants in sometime in May, weather depending, because beans aren't particularly cold hardy. They don't like cool temperatures. So and this is just general purpose compost. It's actually clover, peat based compost. So I'll get these pots filled up, and I'll bring you back for sowing the seeds. So I've got my pots there, and I think I've got 24 there. I'm just going to make a little hole in each one, about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, 1 inch, something like that deep. Beans are quite a big seed, so plant them a bit deeper. And what I'll do with these, once I've sown them, give them water, and then I'll put them in the greenhouse. It's an unheated greenhouse, just to get them to germinate. Look like little Tic Tacs, these seeds. Tic Tacs are a minty sweet, for anybody that doesn't know. And 1 in each. If possible. There we go. Put one in there, yeah. And then I'll give those a cover over from the water, put them in the greenhouse, and probably be a couple of weeks they should be up and out of the ground, and I'll grow them on then in these pots for probably at least another 2 weeks, I would say. Probably moving them to the cold frame if the weather's warmed up a bit, even outside if the weather's good. And then when they're getting a bit too big for the pots, I'll plant them out on the bean structure that I've got. Still set up from last year actually. It's survived the winter, so I might just need to strengthen it a bit here and there. So I'll put a label on them, give them a water, get them in the greenhouse. Next I'm going to sow some courgettes, and I have already sown 4 plants this season and only 1 came up, so It's a new packet of seeds, Black Beauty, so I'm going to try again. And I'm finding this a lot this year, that I'm not getting the germination rates that I normally get, even with new packets of seeds. And I don't know if it's just because it's been so wet and, you know, horrible, but I'm going to put one in each of these pots. And they will go up to the house for germination. Hopefully, just keep them damp, somewhere warm, south-facing windowsill. And I'm going to sow some butternut squash. So these are the first butternut squash I'm sowing of the year, and I'm going to do 3 for now, and then probably in a few weeks when things have warmed up, hopefully, I'm going to put some direct into one of the beds as well. So that's those, and exactly the same. They'll go up to the house, south-facing windowsill. And I don't have a dedicated bed for butternut squash. What I'm going to do is plant them on the corners of beds and let them trail along pathways and things, and I did that last year and it worked quite well. So they're going to go up to the house, and that's all the seeds that I'm going to sow for now. I will be sowing some more in a few weeks' time. The carrots and parsnips, radishes, lettuce, all those sort of things I successively sow all the way through the summer now. Well, parsnips up until, say, the end of May. Once we get past the end of May, I won't sow anymore, but carrots I'll sow up till the end of June, and then I will be looking at sowing some more in the back end of the summer probably. But that's got some more stuff sown, and yeah, everything's looking quite good out there at the moment. I'll turn the camera around and show you. So these early potatoes, we've got Charlotte and Lady Crystal coming on nicely now, and put those in probably 3 weeks ago, and every night I'm coming out covering them up with this tarp. The 2 forks in the ground there are to keep the tarp off the leaves, because if the leaves get touched by the tarp, even though it's covered, if there's a heavy frost, they'll still get damaged. Garden peas, marrowfat peas, coming on nicely. Pleased with those. And rhubarb's grown like mad. I've got some there and some up that end. And the strawberry tower. If you didn't see that video, I'll put a link in the description to how I made this. We've had a few casualties, I think. There's a couple of the plants that might die, I think, but mostly they've picked up. So yeah, pleased. And as they fill out, should be good. Probably not the best crop this year, but next year should be better. The old apple tree's got lots of blossom. Under here we've got onions. I'm just keeping them covered as a bit of extra protection. They don't really need it, but keeps the wind off them and what have you. And then under this cover is all the cauliflower, kale, spinach, calabrese and cabbage. Quite a lot under there. And then we've got some more calabrese here. And we've got pak choy. And then chard. Sorry, this is the pak choy. What's up there is the kohlrabi. So this is kohlrabi. this is the pak choi. Just going to have a quick look over here. Jerusalem artichokes. I think something's starting to happen. The ground's lifting, cracking in places, so I think they are starting to make a move. Need to keep my eye on that because of the frosts, if we get any. And the rhubarb's just fantastic. I need to pick some, have a rhubarb crumble. And in here I put the main crop potatoes, but I don't think there's anything coming up yet. No, just weeds. And I need to get some of these leeks out because the birds have been taking the ones that I put out, and these are spares. They're spare onion. Broad beans, I'll give them a few more days, a week or so, and then I'll get these out as well. And then in the cold frame, got some lettuce, cauliflower and cabbage, beetroot, some spare kale, and mixed salad leaves. So thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do follow me on this journey to become more self-sufficient. Cheers.